Every day people walk into my shop with all sorts of things. Sometimes it's a guitar, sometimes it's a Super Bowl ring, but every now and then, someone brings in a coin. It might look like a dirty piece of metal, something you'd find in the bottom of a drawer. But to me, that little piece of metal is a time machine. It's a direct link to the past. You hold it in your hand and you think, who held this before me? Was it a Roman soldier? A pirate? A king? That's the magic of old coins. They aren't just money, they're stories you can hold. The excitement of a rare coin is something special. It's the ultimate treasure hunt. Think about it. This tiny object could have traveled across oceans, been buried for 1,000 years, and somehow it ended up in your hands. It survived wars, the fall of empires, and the changing of the world. Each scratch, each bit of wear, tells a part of that journey. It's a piece of history that doesn't need a museum wall or a glass case. It's personal. And when you find one that's truly rare, the thrill is unbelievable. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, but the needle is made of gold and history. I've been in this business a long time, and I've seen coins that would blow your mind. Coins that were minted by Julius Caesar himself. Coins that were salvaged from sunken Spanish galleons. Each one has a story that's bigger than the coin itself. It tells you about the people who made it, the economy they lived in, and the art they valued. It's a snapshot of a moment in time, frozen in metal. That's why I get so excited. You're not just buying or selling a coin, you're dealing with a tangible piece of our collective human story. So, let's take a journey. We're going to go back to the very beginning, to a time before dollars and cents. We'll look at how these little pieces of metal came to be, how they changed the world, and why they continue to fascinate us so much today. We'll talk about the big finds, the ultra-rare pieces, and the stories they tell. It's a world of treasure, history, and a little bit of luck. And trust me, it's a story worth more than its weight in gold. Let's dive in and see what secrets these old coins are hiding. Before coins, things were complicated. If you were a farmer and you needed a new pair of shoes, you had to find a shoemaker who needed a chicken. This is called bartering. It worked, but it wasn't easy. You had to find the right person who wanted exactly what you had. Then, people started using valuable things as a medium of exchange, like salt, shells, or chunks of metal. The problem was, you always had to weigh the metal. Was this piece of silver pure? Was it the right weight? It was a real hassle, and it opened the door for a lot of dishonest people to cheat you. Then, around 650 BC, someone had a brilliant idea. In a kingdom called Lydia, in modern-day Turkey, they started making the first true coins. These weren't just random lumps of metal. They were made from a natural mix of gold and silver called electrum. The Lydian kings decided to stamp these lumps with an official seal, usually a lion's head. This stamp was a guarantee. It said, "I, the king, certify that this piece of metal is a specific weight and purity." Suddenly, you didn't need scales for every little transaction. You could just count the coins. This invention was a game changer. It was like the invention of the internet for the ancient world. Trade exploded. A merchant could now travel from city to city with a pocket full of coins, knowing they would be accepted everywhere. It made commerce faster, easier, and more reliable. The Lydian kings, like the famous King Croesus, became incredibly wealthy because they controlled the money supply. This new technology, and that's what it was, a technology, spread like wildfire across the ancient world. It was a simple solution to a very big problem. Think about the craftsmanship. These first coins were not perfectly round like the ones we have today. They were kind of lumpy and irregular. Each one was made by hand. A metal worker would place a heated blank piece of electrum on an anvil that had a design carved into it. Then, they would use a punch and a hammer to strike the top, pressing the metal into the design. It was a crude process, but it worked. Every single coin was a small piece of handmade art, a testament to the ingenuity of our ancestors. Once the Lydians let the cat out of the bag, everyone wanted in on the action. The Greeks, who were master traders and artists, took the idea of coinage and perfected it. They started making coins out of pure silver and gold, which were more reliable than the Lydian electrum. And the designs? They were incredible. Each Greek city-state, or polis, had its own unique coin. Athens had the owl, a symbol of wisdom. Corinth had Pegasus, the winged horse. These weren't just symbols, they were brands. An Athenian owl was trusted all over the Mediterranean. These Greek coins were more than just money, they were miniature works of art. The detail the engravers could achieve on such a small canvas is just mind-boggling. They showed gods, goddesses, heroes, and mythological creatures. A coin from Syracuse might have a beautiful portrait of the nymph Arethusa, with dolphins swimming in her hair. These images were a way for cities to show off their power, their culture, and their artistic skill. When you look at a high-grade ancient Greek coin, you're looking at one of the finest pieces of classical art ever produced. It's a sculpture you can fit in your pocket. Then came the Romans. The Romans were engineers, not artists, but they understood power. They saw coins as the perfect tool for propaganda. As the Roman Republic grew into an empire, their coins spread across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Roman coins were uniform, reliable, and everywhere. The most famous was the silver denarius. A Roman soldier was paid in these coins, and he would spend them in faraway lands like Britain or Egypt. This is how Roman influence spread. The coins were a constant reminder of who was in charge. The Romans were the first to put portraits of living rulers on their coins. Julius Caesar was the first to do this, and it was a bold move. It basically said, "I am the state." After him, every emperor put their face on the currency. The coins became a traveling news report. They announced military victories, the building of new monuments, and the birth of an heir. If you were a farmer in a remote province, you might not ever see the emperor, but you would see his face every day on the money you used. That's powerful stuff. It's how you control an empire. As the Roman Empire faded, the world of coinage got a little chaotic. But the idea stuck. All through the Middle Ages, kings and feudal lords minted their own coins. These coins are often cruder than their Roman predecessors, but they tell a fascinating story of a fragmented world. A coin could tell you which lord controlled which piece of land. The English, for example, started making silver pennies. For hundreds of years, that was the main coin in circulation. If you needed a smaller amount, you literally cut the penny into halves or quarters, which is where we get the terms halfpenny and farthing. The designs on these medieval coins are also very telling. They often featured simple portraits of the king and religious symbols, like the cross. This showed the two main sources of power in the medieval world, the monarch and the church. The quality of the coins could also tell you about the health of the kingdom. If a king was low on cash, he might start debasing the currency, mixing the silver with cheaper metals. People weren't stupid. They knew when they were being handed bad money. This often led to inflation and economic trouble. The coins themselves are a record of the economic ups and downs of the era. Then came the age of exploration, and everything changed again. The Spanish Empire hit the jackpot when they discovered massive amounts of silver in the New World, in places like Potosi in Bolivia. They started minting huge quantities of silver coins, the most famous being the piece of 8. This coin, the Spanish dollar, became the world's first global currency. It was used in Europe, the Americas, and even in Asia. In fact, the US dollar was based on it, which is why our dollar sign is believed to come from the pillars and ribbon on the Spanish coin. These pieces of 8 are the classic pirate treasure. When you see a movie with a treasure chest overflowing with coins, these are the ones they're talking about. They were transported on massive treasure fleets from the Americas back to Spain. Of course, these ships were a tempting target for pirates and privateers. Many ships sank in storms or were captured in battle. That means there are still sunken Spanish galleons at the bottom of the ocean, filled with these legendary coins. Each one recovered is a direct link to that swashbuckling era of empires and pirates. Everyone dreams of finding buried treasure, and sometimes it actually happens. These discoveries, called hoards, are incredibly important. They give us a snapshot of a specific moment in time. One of the most amazing was the Hoxton hoard, found in England in 1992 by a guy with a metal detector. He was looking for a lost hammer. Instead, he found a wooden chest filled with over 14,000 Roman coins, plus hundreds of gold and silver objects. It was the largest collection of late Roman gold and silver ever found in Britain. The Hoxton hoard was like a time capsule from the end of Roman Britain. The newest coin in the hoard dated to around 407 AD. This was right around the time the Roman legions were leaving Britain for good. The owner was probably a wealthy Roman-British family. They buried their life savings, hoping to keep it safe during a chaotic and dangerous time. For whatever reason, they never came back for it. The hoard tells a story of fear and uncertainty at the collapse of an empire. Without this discovery, a piece of that story would be lost forever. Another incredible story is the Saddle Ridge Hoard. In 2013, a couple in California was walking their dog on their own property when they spotted the top of a rusty can sticking out of the ground. They dug it up and found it was full of gold coins. Then they found another can, and another, and another. In total, they found 8 cans filled with 1,427 US gold coins from the late 19th century. The face value was about $27,000, but the collector value was estimated at over $10 million. It's the biggest buried treasure find in US history. The mystery of the Saddle Ridge Hoard is what makes it so cool. The coins were minted between 1847 and 1894. Who buried them, and why? No one knows for sure. Some people think it might have been stashed by an outlaw, but the coins were in such good condition it seems unlikely. The leading theory is that it was a secret stash belonging to some private, untrusting individual who didn't believe in banks. Whoever it was, they took their secret to the grave. The coins sat in the ground for over 100 years, just waiting for a lucky dog walk. It just goes to show you, treasure can be anywhere. People come into the shop all the time and say, "This coin is old, it must be worth a lot of money." I have to be the person to tell them that age is only one small part of the equation. The 3 most important things in determining a coin's value are rarity, condition, and demand. You can have a 2,000-year-old Roman coin that's only worth $20 because they minted millions of them and they're easy to find. On the other hand, you can have a coin from 1933 that's worth millions. It all comes down to the story and the numbers. Rarity is the big one. How many were made and how many are known to still exist? A great example is the 1933 Double Eagle, a $20 gold coin. The US minted almost 500,000 of them. But then, President Roosevelt took the country off the gold standard and ordered almost all of them to be melted down. Only a handful escaped. Because it's illegal to own one, except for one specific example, they are incredibly rare and valuable. One of them sold for over $18 million. It's not just about how many were made, but how many survived. Condition is king. It's what we call the grade of the coin. A coin that looks like it just came from the mint, with no scratches or wear, is called mint state. A coin that's worn smooth from being passed from hand to hand is in poor condition. The difference in value can be astronomical. A common Morgan silver dollar might be worth $30 in average condition, but a perfect, top population example of that same coin could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Collectors are willing to pay a huge premium for the best of the best. That's why we have professional grading services that seal coins in plastic holders with a specific grade. Finally, you need demand. A coin is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. Some coins have incredible stories that capture the imagination of collectors. The 1913 Liberty Head nickel is a perfect example. Only 5 were ever made, and they were produced secretly at the US Mint. They have a mysterious backstory that makes them legendary. Whenever one comes up for auction, the richest collectors in the world line up to get a shot at it. It's this combination of rarity, top condition, and a great story that creates a multi-million-dollar coin. The image of a treasure hunter is usually some guy on a beach with a metal detector. And sure, that's part of it. People still find amazing things that way. Every year, detectorists in Europe unearth Roman, Viking, and medieval coins that rewrite history books. But modern coin hunting is so much more than that. It's about knowledge. It's about knowing what to look for. Some of the greatest finds are not dug out of the ground. They're discovered hiding in plain sight. This is a practice we call coin roll hunting. Coin roll hunting is exactly what it sounds like. You go to a bank, get a box of rolled coins, pennies, nickels, dimes, and you search through them. You're looking for errors, rare varieties, or older silver coins. It takes patience and a good eye, but you can find some amazing things. For example, some 1982 dimes were accidentally minted without a mint mark. A normal 1982 dime is worth, well, 10 cents. But one of those no-P error dimes in good condition can be worth hundreds of dollars. Someone found one in a roll and made a huge profit. The internet has completely changed the game for collectors and hunters. Before, you had to rely on books and local coin clubs. Now, you have access to a world of information at your fingertips. There are online forums where people share their finds, databases with millions of auction records, and digital archives of old mint documents. You can research a coin in minutes. This has made the hobby more accessible to everyone. It has also made the market more transparent. You can instantly check the value of a coin and see what it has sold for in the past. But at the end of the day, coin hunting is still about the thrill of the chase. It's about that moment of discovery. Whether you're digging up a Civil War button in a Virginia field or finding a rare doubled die penny in a roll from the bank, the feeling is the same. It's a jolt of excitement. It's the knowledge that you found something special, something that most people would overlook. It's a hobby that rewards patience, research, and a little bit of obsession. And you never know what you might find next. Coins are incredible cultural artifacts. They are like little ambassadors that travel between civilizations, sharing ideas, art, and technology. When Alexander the Great conquered a huge part of the ancient world, he spread Greek-style coins all the way to India. For centuries after, kings in India and modern-day Afghanistan were minting coins that had Greek-style portraits and Greek letters on them. These coins are proof of a deep cultural connection between East and West that happened more than 2,000 years ago. You can see the blending of cultures right there in the metal. This cultural exchange wasn't always peaceful. When the Romans conquered a new territory, they would often melt down the local currency and remint it into Roman denarii. This was a powerful statement. It was a way of saying, your culture is over, and our culture is now in charge. But sometimes, the influence went the other way. The designs on coins from the edges of the empire often incorporated local styles and symbols. It shows that even a powerful empire like Rome had to adapt to the local cultures it governed. The coins are a record of this constant push and pull between different peoples. Think about the Silk Road, that ancient network of trade routes connecting China with the Mediterranean. What did they use for money? Everything. A merchant might start in China with silk and get paid in Roman gold coins in Constantinople. Then he might trade those for silver Sasanian coins in Persia. These coins traveled thousands of miles, passed through hundreds of hands, and crossed countless borders. A hoard of coins found along the Silk Road can contain coins from a dozen different empires. It's a physical map of the ancient global economy. Even in modern times, coins tell stories of connection. The British sovereign, a gold coin with a picture of St. George slaying a dragon, was used all over the British Empire. You could spend it in London, Sydney, Mumbai, or Cape Town. It was a symbol of the empire's global reach. Similarly, the Maria Theresa thaler, an Austrian silver coin first minted in 1780, became so popular in the Middle East and Africa that Austria continued to mint it with the same date for over 200 years just for trade. These coins didn't just buy goods, they connected different worlds. So, why do we still care so much about these old pieces of metal? In a world of credit cards and digital payments, what makes an old coin so special? I think it comes down to a few things. First, it's about owning a real piece of history. You can read a book about Abraham Lincoln, but to hold a coin that might have been in his pocket? That's a whole different level of connection. It makes history feel real and personal. It's not just an abstract story, it's a tangible object that has survived the test of time. There's also the thrill of the hunt, which is a powerful human instinct. It's the same feeling people get when they hunt for antiques, search for fossils, or collect rare stamps. It's the desire to find something precious and unique, to complete a set, or to own something that nobody else has. The world of rare coins offers an endless variety of goals. You could try to collect every type of Roman denarius, or a coin from every year of the 20th century. There's always another coin to find, another set to complete. The hunt never really ends. And let's be honest, there's also the investment angle. Rare coins have proven to be a very stable asset over the long term. The market for the rarest and best conditioned coins is very strong. People see it as a way to diversify their portfolio with a hard asset, something you can actually hold in your hand. Unlike stocks and bonds, a rare coin's value isn't just tied to the economy. It's tied to its historical importance and rarity. For some people, it's a passion. For others, it's a smart place to put their money. For most collectors, it's a little bit of both. Ultimately, the allure of rare coins is about the stories they tell. Every coin is a survivor. It has a hidden history of all the places it's been and the people who have held it. It's a miniature work of art, a piece of economic data, and a political statement all rolled into one. It connects us to emperors, pirates, pioneers, and everyday people from centuries past. It reminds us that we are part of a long, incredible story. And that's a treasure that you just can't put a price on. You never know what's going to come through that door, and you never know what story a simple coin has to tell.